I told you at the very beginning that there would be no pay for the first 7 days. Didn't you hear that? Have you never seen money?
我叫晨晨，今年33。
My name is Chen Chen, 33 years old. My business failed, my company went bankrupt, my house is liened with a heavy debt of $280,000. I became a single mother, my credit score is tarnished, and I'm on the list of dishonest persons. All my credit cards and small loans are overdue. I used to drive a car worth $1 million RMB, live in a small villa, own 3 toy factories, and treat guests with a bill of $1,000.
都是上万块。
如果有一天你面试
If you interview with a company and they tell you there's a 7-day trial period, you should think twice. You will be very likely told on the 7th day, sorry, you didn't make it.
的试岗没有通过，
Don't you know there's a trial period when you start working?
可是你一开始来
But I wasn't told there was no pay during this trial period when I first came here.
你也没有问呀。
You didn't ask, but every applicant knows there's a 5 to 7 day trial period. Ours is 3.5 days. You don't have to video me. But only today you told me about the trial period. How come you don't know this when you came out to look for a job?
但是试用期也有工资。
But you should pay the trial period, so if you plan to fire me today, you still have to pay me. This is not called fire, it's the end of the trial period.
85年的我，今年40岁了。
Born in 1985, 40 years old this year, I'm $250,000 in debt. I'm completely broke now. I try to borrow money from my friends and family members, but no one would lend me $140. All I have now is a mountain of debt and my life. After I fell into debt, my husband decisively decided to divorce me, making me truly understand the saying. A husband and wife are birds in the same forest, but when disaster strikes, they fly away separately. My younger sister lent me $10,000 when I was in dire straits. However, now she is suing me because of this $10,000.
因为这7万块钱把我给起诉了。
As China's economy continues to slow, the job market is becoming increasingly tense. Recently, the term unpaid trial has garnered widespread attention. It refers to companies not paying applicants any wages during the so-called trial period, sparking public outcry. Some companies arrange a 3 to 10-day trial period after the interview, during which no pay is offered. At the end of the period, companies often reject applicants, citing reasons such as lack of experience. Because job seekers don't sign formal employment contracts, many people work for nothing.
终于有人曝光杭州的就业问题了。
Finally, someone's exposing Hangzhou's employment issues. I just saw someone report several companies in Hangzhou for requiring unpaid trial periods. What does that mean? They're just asking you to work for free without paying. A lawyer has pointed out that employers requiring unpaid trial periods are illegal. But many people say, I know it's illegal, but finding a job in Hangzhou is just too hard. Some commenters said that the current minimum wage is no longer sufficient for them, and they are seeking free labor. Others say they've already experienced a 7-day unpaid trial period, only to be told they weren't suitable on the 6th day.
到了第6天会被告知不合适。
The blogger stated that in Hangzhou, if a job seeker requests 2 days off a week or asks the company to cover their employees' 5 social insurances, they will be viewed as illegal behavior and the job seekers must pay for them themselves. If today is an unpaid trial period, will employees have to pay for their work tomorrow?
今天跟大家分享一下我昨天去试岗的一个经历，令我非常无语。
Today, I'm sharing with you my experience of a trial job yesterday, which left me speechless. What happened was, a few days ago, I applied for a job on a recruitment app. After the interview, the boss told me I passed, but I still needed a trial period. I thought, a trial job? So I asked him how many days it would last and if it was paid. He didn't reply. Okay, so I knew it definitely wouldn't be paid. But I still went. Why? The salary they offered was quite good, and the company also provided 2 days off per week. You have to remember, finding a job with 2 days off a week in Guangzhou is incredibly difficult. So, because I wanted the 2 days off, I accepted the unpaid trial period and went.
试岗期没有工资，我也认了，我就去了。
The blogger said the morning went pretty normally. The company's finance director gave me some information to review and understand the company's operational system. And then I started working on the project in the afternoon. The company has numerous projects, suppliers, and other related companies, resulting in a large number of spreadsheets, more than a dozen or so. During the actual work, the blogger was unable to find the correct spreadsheet when opening it to retrieve data or locate items. There were so many items that it was difficult to remember. As a result, the manager kept questioning, saying, "You don't even understand this. Look at what you're doing. I don't think you're familiar with the spreadsheets. Do you really have experience in this field? Are you really a finance major? The blogger said, my mentality was a bit broken and there was quite a lot of people in the office and she had absolutely no regard for anyone else's feelings. She expected me to be as proficient as she was in such a short time. I really thought it was a bit outrageous.
我今天分享这个经历，主要就是想说，对于这种
I'm sharing this experience today mainly to say that I don't recommend taking unpaid trial positions. You'll get nothing and end up humiliated. I actually don't quite understand the purpose of this type of hiring. You have the time to set up an unpaid one-day trial. Why not use it to train someone properly? Honestly, I don't even consider this a financial job. It's just clerical and data-intensive work. It's simple. It just takes time to adapt and understand. That's all. If you spend half a month, a week carefully guiding someone, they'll be fully capable of handling the job instead of the current situation.
完全可以胜任，而不是像现在这样。
Some people may think that trial work is not a big problem because there are too many people who suddenly lose their jobs. Blogger Li Qiangchen said she has worked in a company for many years and she felt very surprised by the layoff notice. After her supervisor spoke with her, she left the company a few hours later.
我走的时候，我都是悄悄的。
I left quietly. I don't want to disturb others, so I said goodbye to my close colleagues and quietly left during my lunch break. Then, as I was walking into the office hallway, a young girl who had been working with me ran out saying, Sister Yan, wait for a while. I ordered a bouquet for you.
你先别走，我给你订了束花。
The blogger replied to the colleague, Why bother to order flowers? Don't spend that money. Just return it. The girl said, The flowers will be arriving soon.
就是有点舍不得你。然后他后面
She said, I just can't bear to leave you. Then she added something that completely broke my heart. I ordered this bouquet for you because I want you to be happy.
他说他希望我开心。
The blogger explained that she was 31 years old and had 7 or 8 years of work experience. The colleague who went to the flowers had just graduated. The girl might not feel she was doing something important. However, when the blogger received the flowers, she was instantly overjoyed. It made her feel like being unemployed wasn't a big deal and that everything would be fine in the future. But are unpaid trial positions really reasonable? Another blogger shared a story about being on the job for 3 days. She was still on probation when the HR manager contacted her and told her she wasn't qualified.
就在这个时候，人事拍了拍我的肩膀，说
Just then, the HR tapped me on the shoulder and said, I just called you, didn't you hear me? Come with me. On the way, I was still thinking, are they going to make me a regular employee early? After a few small talks, he asked, how's work going? I said it was fine. He then said, according to your department leader, your skills don't meet the company's hiring requirements. He asked what time I left yesterday. I said a little after 6 o'clock. He said, our company usually ends around 7 or 8 o'clock, and since your workload wasn't up to standard, you can't leave early. I really couldn't argue, and I didn't want to.
力反驳我，而且我也不想反驳。
The blogger said she heard 6 p.m. is the time to be off work, so she left at 6:15 yesterday. However, looking back at the situation, no one else had left. They seemed busy. At the time, she left without giving it much thought. Now she understands that everyone's used to leaving work around 7 or 8 p.m. just to show them to the boss. Now that this job is gone, she'll have to look for another one. Yes, the day is over, and let me share my feelings. My work today, to put it this way, was like sifting through a pile of junk to find a new, potentially useful things. There are daily targets, and 90% of them are unachievable. Before leaving work, I spoke with my supervisor and told him that if we adhere to these targets, there's only a 10% chance of meeting them. Then, what's the point of a 3-day trial? He said, I think you can do it. I'm not stupid. I am not in this industry for just a day or two, right? If I help you with this kind of useless work and then get fired by you, I'll waste 3 days of my time. I can't do that. Why don't you waive the payment? No payment for the girl's work, which is the way you bully the summer interns. Huh? Bullying a child? Why isn't my daughter paid for a day's work? There's a probation period. You're the manager here, responsible for hiring employees. You don't know the labor law? You don't know there's no probation period? 1 day work, 1 day pay. Don't you know? How can you fool people like this?
就现在沈阳就业有一个挺奇葩的现象啊。
There's a problem with employment in Shenyang at the moment. There's a rather bizarre phenomenon called unpaid trial period. What does it mean? You work for them for a few days for free, and if they think you're good, they'll sign you, but if you're not, you're fired. Of course, you don't get paid for the trial period. That's the whole thing. I saw some people online sharing their experience with this, and those close to me have told me that it's happening now, so it definitely seems to be happening. Honestly, what's the boss's real motive behind this unpaid trial period? They just want to get something for free.
老板真实意图是啥呢？就想白嫖。
The blogger said that bosses these days are always looking to take advantage, and this unpaid trial period is illegal. As long as someone works for you, you must pay them. The blogger said, people's moral standards are declining and they have no bottom line. If one company takes the lead in implementing unpaid trial periods and doesn't face penalties, other companies will follow suit. Now that they've introduced unpaid trial periods, I wonder what other tactics they'll come up with.
遇到适岗的给我跑，遇到适岗。
If you get a trial position, run away. If you get a trial position but no salary, run away without looking back. Why do so many companies in Guangzhou require a trial period? I'd avoid 90% of those that do. Both of my offers required a trial position. I asked the HR why. They said it was to determine if we were compatible and to see your work ethic. I argued that the probation period can also reveal whether your work attitude is correct and whether your skills match the requirements. He said that's the company's policy.
真的是拴了个大 Q。
真的觉得有一些老板真的仗着自己是个法盲在那里。
I really feel that some bosses act recklessly because of their legal ignorance. I'm going to arbitration and there's a girl in front of me who's also there. She had worked for 10 days doing telesales, but her boss only paid her $42. She requested arbitration and asked her boss to come. Do you know why her boss came? He felt he was in the clear and felt completely justified, so he came to confront. His attitude was like, "What's wrong? I'm here, what do you want?" This arrogant attitude implied that he had done nothing wrong. The staff member asked, why only pay her $42? She had worked there for 10 days. According to Luo Yang's minimum wage of $14 a day, you should have paid her at least $140. The blogger said the boss replied, but our company has a 7-day probationary period, during which there's no pay. So she only worked for 3 days, so we paid her $42, which is reasonable. The staff member said, I'm talking to you about the law. Is your company above the law? The boss replied, but the job seeker knew there was no pay during the probationary period, and she agreed to it. The staff member said it was useless even if she agreed, as this practice was illegal. Finally, the boss said, then I'll just transfer her $140 and the matter will be settled, right? Then he transferred the money. Have you ever encountered a company that simply offers you a trial period when you're looking for a job? I was job hunting a while ago and one company asked me to try out for 3 days before making a decision. However, during this trial period, you won't receive any salary. If you're hired, you'll start receiving a salary from the first day of your trial period. Time is calculated from the beginning. I didn't think much of it at the time. I was just sitting around doing nothing anyway, so I gave it a try. And then I searched Xiaohongshu and found that it's illegal for companies not to pay employees during the trial period. I confronted the company again and they started arguing, saying we had an agreement. I said I didn't know it was illegal at the time. The blogger said she had already worked for 2 days, hadn't been late or left early, and had done a lot of work, so she deserved some pay. The company later gave her $28, which should have been $70. She felt a bit dissatisfied but didn't ask any further, thinking, never mind, let it go. The blogger reminded netizens to be cautious when looking for a job, as companies offering trial positions may not be trustworthy. One netizen said, but I've been job hunting these days and I've noticed that most of them require a trial period. What should I do? Another netizen said, my first day at a courier was also a trial period. They said they would train me, but I was assigned to unload packages as soon as I arrived. One netizen warned, if you're asked to do odd jobs, it's best not to go, as it seems like they found a free cleaner. Mr. Lee from Mudanjiang was browsing online job postings late August when he saw a photo studio in Harbin hiring. He submitted his resume. Shortly after, the boss contacted him and asked Lee to try editing a few photos. The boss was satisfied. The two parties agreed on salary and a starting date. Mr. Lee then moved from Mudanjiang to Harbin, rented an apartment, and prepared to start work. However, on his first day, the boss required a 7-day unpaid trial period. Considering the considerable investment he had made in the job, Mr. Lee accepted the unpaid trial period. Despite receiving positive client feedback during his trial period, his boss rejected him, claiming his work did not meet expectations. Mr. Lee asked for 6 days' pay, but his boss responded, "If you don't meet the standards, you won't be paid." The same thing happened to the previous photo retoucher. Some analysts pointed out that the phenomenon of unpaid trial positions is spreading in the workplace, rooted in massive unemployment and intense employment pressure. This is because jobs are scarce, people can't find work, foreign investment is withdrawing, and foreign companies are leaving the market, so job opportunities are naturally decreasing. Mr. Gu, a mainland university teacher, believes the government is using institutional design to disguise illegal exploitation as voluntary participation in an attempt to legitimize it. Mr. Gu pointed out, workers are working but not getting paid. This reflects the true state of the current economy, high unemployment and frequent business failures. In April of this year, Ms. Wen applied for a children's programming teacher position at a Guangzhou educational training institution and was also required to undergo a 1-week trial. During this period, she completed 2 trial teaching sessions, but the agency rejected her offer, citing lack of experience, and recommended she switch to a custodian teaching position. After refusing to switch, Ms. Wen demanded payment for her trial period, only to be told, "You're just learning from the class, it's not a formal job, so naturally you won't be paid." The phenomenon of unpaid trial positions is quietly spreading in mainland China. Job seekers lacking formal employment contracts often struggle to prove their rights and ultimately suffer in silence. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.